let's talk about who's out, Brad, because obviously this roster, one of the biggest, I don't want to call it knocks, but one of the biggest talking points when people were talking about this 2025 Indiana Hoosiers team was how old they were and that they were senior heavy and that there was a bunch of leadership and experience. And I think one of the beautiful things about the way this team was constructed and the way that different guys stepped up throughout the years that we have this core of leadership leaving and we have this core of new leaders kind of emerge in the same way. But I want to talk about the seniors, the graduates, and the NFL draft guys first. And I don't think you can talk about the 2025 Indiana Hoosiers. And I know everybody's going to want to talk about Mendoza first, but to me, everything starts with Aiden Fisher. And the fact that Aiden Fisher came into Indiana as somebody who people questioned as an NFL guy, questioned his ability to play, forget an NFL guy, actually, questioned his ability to play in the Big Ten. And now he leaves Indiana as a national champion and somebody who's a lock to get selected, not only in the seventh round, but should be a fairly high draft pick when it's all said and done because of the instincts he's displayed on the field, along with the athletic ability that he's shown. But it's the things that we don't see and the things that we'll never see. And like he talked about going and like every time he went to work out, he'd go bother Bones Jones and Roe Hardy. Like every time he'd go to watch film, he's bothering Bones Jones and Roe Hardy, and like passing little things like that down to the younger guys, and just the ability to have somebody like Aiden Fisher in a room every day, watch that guy work, watch that guy prepare, watch that guy eat, sleep, do all that stuff. It's unbelievably valuable to a football team. And like Brian Haynes says it all the time, it starts with 4. This team started with 4, and like he is one of the biggest reasons why this team was able to achieve all the things they were able to achieve. So one of the biggest losses by far for this Indiana football team will be figuring out how to replace Aiden Fisher.
Everyone has their favorite players, right? And whether that's going to be Pons or Mendoza or Surratt, like lots of guys to choose from. Like Aiden Fisher, 2-time team captain, like the guy, like, number one, like the captain on the team. 2 years, tenure of 27-2 and a national title and a Big Ten championship, Rose Bowl and a Peach Bowl, 2-time All-American in his run at IU. Forever will be the greatest captain in IU football history for what he did. One of the best trash talkers in college football this past year. I think that needs to be said. An intense guy, someone who's going to be a super loved by whatever NFL team is smart enough to draft him. Whoever figures that out, you're welcome. Go get him. He's a stud. A fantastic player, a great leader. Definitely, I loved how you called out passing it down to the younger guys because, we're going to need Hardy, Fisher, and Becker, Hardy, Jones, and Becker, and all those guys to, step up and carry the torch, right? And that's going to be really important. And losing him's a big dropout. Like that is the leader on the team, and having him is it's going to be a little bit of a there could be some road bumps here, right? As we go through winter workouts and spring ball. And as we figure out, who's going to be that new vocal leader, who's going to be talking shit, who's going to be that guy? Is it going to be Jones, who's going to be now the new trash talker on the team? Very important.
I got a prediction for you,
Brad. One of my personal favorites for forever, one of the greatest Hoosiers of all time. Yeah, that is the toughest loss to the offseason, just from the sense that he was the team captain for 2 years, the greatest IU captain in any sport ever, greatest Hoosier captain of all time. Shout out Fish. Wish him the best of luck. Should be a top 100 pick. That's my official grade for him. Linebackers tend to not go in the first round, so it's gonna be tough for him to sneak in there. But rounds 2 and 3, like should be your first linebacker taken off the board. I know Jacob Rodriguez has been showing out. So for me, it's between Rodriguez and him for the first linebacker taken off the board. If it's not him, he should be second. So we'll wish him the best of luck as he goes to the combine and all his stuff. I don't care what his measurables are. Dude's a damn good football player. That's all that should matter.
It's funny. To me, it all starts with Fish, but everybody else isn't in any particular order, right? But It is kind of funny that the next name I wrote down was Fernando Mendoza, who Heisman Trophy winner, going to be the number 1 overall pick. Another guy who we talked about how valuable Fish was as a leader. The way Fernando Mendoza was able to inspire his teammates to get guys to play for him, to want to play with him, on top of his ability to just spin the rock and like be the best quarterback in the nation. Like Indiana does not go 12-0 with a different quarterback this season. That I'm convinced of. And like for a lot of the dunking on 24/7 and on 3 that we were able to do because of the success that this team had, there was multiple times this season where Fernando Mendoza's individual greatness was the reason why Indiana was able to have a lot of these moments. And so something we've talked about with what Indiana's put on the field, the talent level on the team is going to get better, but I'm not sure if we'll ever see a better quarterback at the University of Indiana than Fernando Mendoza. Or Jesus Christ, Indiana University. We've been talking for too long, Brad.
We're gonna have great quarterbacks come through here through the years.
That's why I don't. Sidebar. That's why I don't get on recruits for saying it wrong. It's like I've never called it University of. That's the most disgusting thing that's ever come out of my mouth. I can't believe that just happened.
We are a 200-year-old plus institution. We are Indiana University, the Indiana University.
IU, baby.
Mm-hmm. And Fernando, guy I called Andrew Luck back in April, March, whatever it was one of my favorite Christmas gifts of all time when he committed. It was awesome when that happened. Got him over Georgia. And came in almost irreplaceable leadership in terms of just being able to rally the guys, get them all to believe really early on. I think, also like maybe not even had to do that with his words. See that guy spin the rock. I mean, they're like, oh, this guy's a little better than Roar. Come on, a little bit.
I go back to.
There's gonna be a lot of quarterbacks to come through here, and it's gonna be toxic to compare them to Mendoza. And I'm gonna encourage us as well as other fans to stay away from that. I think it's unrealistic expectations to put on any quarterback that comes in here. Josh Hoover is gonna be the first one. Very tenured quarterback. I'm not gonna talk about Josh Hoover here, but to compare future quarterbacks to him, I think will be unfair. Just an absolute special talent, a legend, a guy that will have a statue on campus one day. Number 15, Heisman Trophy winner. We called our shot, almost our claim to fame, almost being on this guy so early. And I'm just so happy. Probably the easiest guy to root for ever. Easiest. It's impossible to hate Fernando Mendoza. Impossible.
You have to try and just be a miserable person.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Ponds, Brad. The man's got a pond. What more can you say? If you want to talk about who the most talented football player on this team was, obviously, again, everyone's going to say Fernando Mendoza, but it really might just be D'Angelo Ponds. He's going to continue to get disrespected because of his size, but oh my goodness, the football player that kid is. His ability to lock down whole halves of the field, his ability to lock down receivers all over the spectrum, whether it's your Jeremiah Smiths, your Bostons, your big, tall jump ball guys, your small, scat, athletic guys. The guy tackles. You watch the way he's putting his nose in there against Mark Fletcher, and smart, physical, tough, everything you want in a football player. That's D'Angelo Ponds. And I don't think it's an accident that one of the first things we heard about Ponds is that nobody was beating this guy over the top in practice, and I don't think we've ever seen somebody beat him deep.
We saw a clip of Cooper actually beating him deep in early practice.
That was a Mendoza rollout thing, but I don't it's true. If you were just basing it off of physical talent alone, D'Angelo Ponds is an easy no-brainer first-round pick. Yeah. There is nothing really.
Hey, you're facing Cooper Mendoza, not easy, man. You get beat a couple times, but it's okay. The most talented player on this team. He's going to get disrespected. Should be round 1. His height, guys are going to be idiots. He's probably going to go 35, something like that. But I hope he goes round 1. That'd be awesome for the program. Came in as a freshman All-American, was one of the more highly touted transfers to come in, just being that true sophomore, freshman All-American, year 2 jump, that concept. Came in, made an impact right away. The pick sixes, the plays, the pass breakups, the clamping of Jeremiah Smith, winning both matchups when he played him. Unbelievable talent. I think what makes me confident that he might go round 1 is his Jeremiah Smith tape. because I think scouts already know that guy's our top 5 receiver, top 5 pick in the upcoming he might be the first overall pick in the next year's draft.
People would have taken him top 5 last year, Brad.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm as high as Jeremiah Smith as you can be. And this guy beat him twice in the matchup. Clamped his shit in the Ohio State loss on the road the first year. Kid only had like 35 yards against him.
3 catches for 23 yards.
Yep. And then, in a much tougher matchup, won some and lost some, but overall won the matchup in terms of winning the game and coming up with plays more so in the second half to get the job done. Forever, one of the greatest Hoosier athletes of all time. 5, try 5, get 6.
It's funny when you start talking about statues and who really deserves one, and you really could build statues of the entire team. But he's definitely on the short list of people who.
The first 3 you mentioned are for sure.
And if D'Angelo's Pond isn't a permanent fixture in Bloomington by the government, it will be by the inhabitants of the town and the students of the school, because that was an epic thing that happened, and that should be a thing. It definitely should.
We got a lot of numbered streets. I've said this before.
Start naming them
in Bloomington. Could start naming them.
That would be sick. Mikhail Kamara, Brad, another one of the JMU guys coming in, absolutely disrespected. People didn't think he'd be able to play in the Big Ten, let alone be an NFL draft guy. And to go from that to, I started watching a lot of Brooks Austin going into the national championship game, coming out of the national championship game, because he's one of the only guys breaking down full game film on YouTube. Mikhail Kamara was destroying Francis Mauanaga, the guy who's going to be a top 15, top 10 pick on most people's boards, just absolutely destroying him by being an athlete and being destructive. And that's who Mikhail Kamara is. Didn't have the best statistical year in terms of getting to the quarterback, but led the conference in pressures. And when Stephen Daly and Kellen Wyatt both were lost for the season for injury, and Mikhail Kamara was playing through his own injuries, that kid never complained once, played through a lot of pain, and was one of the most impactful players for the playoff run, and obviously blocked the punt in the national championship. That might end up being the statue, is the Mikhail Kamara outstretched hand to block the punt. So shout out to 6 and everything he was able to accomplish.
Would make a good one. Mikhail Kamara, 2-star recruit, came in as a junior last year. Led the conference in pressures in a league that had Abdul Carter. Absolutely dominated. Top 10 picks. I'd be seeing 6th round grades for this guy. It's like I think I know more about him than they do. And the only reason why I would think that is because he has a shoulder issue. His shoulder seems to pop out. Happened during the UCLA game. It seems to be once you pop your shoulder out, pops out again more often. It's a thing. So that could be the only real knock against him. When we talk real X's and O's, the shit on tape, the guy is bona fide top 100. There's no doubt about it. I don't care about measurables. There's plenty of 6'1", 260-pound DNs in the league that have been successful. I don't want to hear how he's undersized at the position when there's plenty of guys at that same size that have had great careers. James Harrison comes to mind. First thing. Crazy comp, but this idea that Mikhail Kamara can't succeed in the league because he's a 6'1" DN, 6'2", 6'1", is asinine to me. And the guy should be picked in the top 100. Would love that blocked punt to be forever commemorated in a statue in front of the stadium. And I'm trying not to spew too much about these guys, but because we'll be talking about them forever.
Yeah, so we could try and speed run for the sake of time, because we do have to get through a lot of guys. Give me one sentence on Pat Coogan and his impact.
Great leader, great vocal leader of the best O-line in the country, despite not winning the Joe Moore Award. Rose Bowl MVP. Finally got his natty after losing the natty the year before. Got the job done. Team captain on this team, 78. Best center in IU history. Sorry, Mike Kadick. I think Mike Kadick would agree.
I think he would agree too. And one of the things that when you went to Europe over the summer and I recorded, I think, the one solo episode that was planned, I did 25 questions about Indiana football and Indiana basketball. And my second question was, what was the leap from Kadick to Coogan going to be? And my conclusion was that it was going to be a significant improvement, and that like people aren't ready to understand the impact Pat Coogan is going to have on this football team, and for everything you just said, and for just the simple fact that he's going to be a Notre Dame transfer that transferred out of that school to go to Indiana to win a national championship. And then like he's just, by being himself, by being Pat Coogan, by being that leader, experienced, tough, and like, he was the perfect piece for this football team. Like we needed a center with his exact skill set and his leadership, and just by being himself, he provided exactly what Indiana needed. So, like you said, best center in Indiana history. Like we'll forever be grateful for Pat Coogan. Elijah Surratt.
Centers are hard to project. Anyways,
Elijah Surratt,
for sure. Elijah Surratt, always open. Waffle House. Is gonna run 4.5 in the combine. Won't matter. Dude always gets open. Best jump ball specialist I've seen in a long time. He's kind of his own. It's hard to comp him because he's kind of his own guy, which makes me even think he's more special. Another top 100 pick. The greatest. Underrated as a leader, was a team captain on this team, by the way. There are 4 team captains. It was Fish, Coogan, Nowakowski, and Elijah Surratt. I don't think I understood going into the year how important of a leader he was. Receivers typically aren't leaders, right? They're like the me guys. But as big of a we guy as we get, one of the best downfield blockers I've seen. He's fantastic. Really set the tone in terms of what being an IU receiver is all about, and is paving the way for future stars to come.
Simply put, Elijah Surratt set the standard for what you need to do to play receiver at Indiana. And for him to go from St. Francis to becoming an Adidas athlete while still in college, and if you look at the Adidas athlete roster, it's Mendoza and Jeremiah Smith and Travis Hunter, and like it's a select group of guys. Like they're not just handing these things out to everybody. And so for Elijah Surratt to be that guy on the field, that guy in the locker room, to have the brand you can build on, that's somebody who absolutely, like he is the development story, right? Like if you're a receiver and you want to come into college and you're trying to figure out where to go, if you're Mike Shanahan and Kurt Signetti recruiting that room, you turn and go Elijah Surratt, but also the individual that Surratt is, and like it's hard for us on the outside to understand how much work that guy had to put in. But anything you ever hear about him from the coaching staff and from the strength and conditioning guys and from his teammates is like the standard and example he set in that room was something that people are going to have to follow. And so unbelievably important to the foundation that was built here. And like you said, one of 4 team captains on this Indiana football team, and a guy that doesn't get enough recognition for his leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Lou Moore.
The greatest boomerang of all time to date. Love that. An original Tom Allen guy, JUCO guy. Came here. Tom Allen was a great eye for defensive talent. Brought him in. Went to Ole Miss. Came back to win a national title. Really close friends with Amari Farrell. That was a big reason for that. One of the coolest stories, just in the sense where we didn't know if he was going to be able to play. And then come to find out, through all the adversity he went through, going through JUCO, going to a school and then coming back and being so under recruited the whole way, and then ending his college career with an All-American season, leading the country in interceptions. Just an absolute unreal story. Now he's going to be, because of his age, possibly knocked out of the top 100. But I see a guy that will come in and may not have the longevity, just with him being already 25, right? Not as much upside, so might get knocked from that in the draft process. But he's going to be a guy that can play in the NFL day one. I don't see that guy going past round 4. Special player. Number 7, originally number 20 when he was at Indiana the first time, will be forever remembered as Sweet Lou Moore, and almost a folk legend at IU in terms of all the plays he made throughout the year, whether that was the Oregon game, the Saint interception in the first quarter, an absolute folk hero in Bloomington.
Yeah, and like you said, someone who was unbelievably important to this team, and we're going to highlight some of the guys. Like we're actually funny enough, we're not going to talk about the guys who are already incumbents in the room, but like somebody like Byron Baldwin Jr. has a really bright future at the position, but true freshman was dealing with injuries this year. Not having Lou Moore in the back end would have been disastrous for this Indiana football team. And the fact that he was able to like play through adversity and put together one of the best 4-game stretches in the country for a safety when he was dealing with all of that. And then you saw the way that the team gelled and just the way the guys in the locker room react to him. And yeah, unbelievably important piece of this defense. And like you said, the most important boomerang of all time. Devon Boykin.
Most underappreciated player on this team was Clamps all year. Probably had I think he was the highest graded PFF guy on this roster throughout the year. It's unbelievable tape. Another like 5th-year senior type guy, one of these old heads that we just had, and was able to execute. We knew coming in when he was on that NC State team, they were really, and he was playing those 2 years. They had one of the best defenses in the conference. He gets hurt. They give up an extra touchdown per game when he gets hurt. So we knew the impact he was going to bring in already coming in for 12. And he had a fantastic year. The biggest play that stands out would be the strip and fumble recovery and touchdown against Maryland. One of my favorite plays of the year. What a guy. What a player. What a special talent. Playing the Rovers. Should get drafted this year despite his age. He's just, he's starting nickel on the national championship team. Probably go get him. Yeah, I'm sure he can make your roster. Right?
Yeah, we talked about going into the season. One of the most frustrating things about the 2 losses Indiana had last year was that they got destroyed over the middle, specifically by Egbuka, who obviously was a first-round pick. Watch what he did in the NFL this year, but also by Notre Dame slot receiver. We were anticipating Boykin coming in and being able to put an end to all of that, and I don't think we could have anticipated him playing as well as he did. And yeah, like you said, physical, instinctual, just a really, really good football player and just somebody who you could rely on. Like there were certain games where, and I don't know all of the snap counts, but there were certain games where he was in a lot of the defensive game plan. And there were other games where there was very heavy 3 linebacker sets and he wasn't relied upon as much. And again, another guy who older understands football and how you need to fit into a team and just somebody who made the team better because of the way he acted every day. And so, yeah, unbelievably important piece of this team. We'll talk about Kellen.
Didn't hear much of him because he was doing his job so well.
Exactly. That's in a whole bunch of words. I said that. Kellen Wyatt and Stephen Daly. They feel like the same player because I
guess we'll group them in, but Kellen Wyatt, a true 3-4 outside linebacker playing DN in this scheme, really adjusted super well, just being a great athlete. Will get drafted despite the knee injury. Probably won't be able to test with anyone, but his tape, the only regret we have is that we didn't get more of them, right? And getting hurt in the Oregon game really sucked, but he was the most impactful D lineman going into that in the season, going into that game. And, losing him, it almost felt like, God damn, like the wheels are falling off, right? And this team was able to figure it out and get it together. And it was Kellen Wyatt, very, very special player. And then 8 steps up behind him, a guy that, we knew it was always going to be Kamara, Wyatt, Daly, and then a little bit of Ndukwe. And then, having Daly come in and step in full time and just lead the conference in tackles for loss, track guy out of Kent State, an absolute phenomenal athlete, going from 0-12 to 16-0. How about that for Stephen Daly? What a story. Another MAC guy, just diamond in the rough that, Sig's able to find, and just an absolute another NFL guy. Like, don't be an idiot. Take him. A phenomenal player, instinctual, knows. I've never seen him miss a tackle, to be honest. He's
except for when the Ohio State lineman was grabbing his face mask while he's sacking Julian Sain.
Exactly. And the dude's a dude. Let's just call it how it is. I'll be interested to see he's definitely screams. He's a true edge, very similar to McHale, like about 6'1", 260. True edge guy, stand up. We'll find a good home in the NFL, and just need to find a good scheme fit for him.
Yeah, freak athletically. Well, first Wyatt, like to your point, he was the most destructive of the defensive linemen. He was basically another linebacker out there, and they were playing a lot of 3-4. Like when you couldn't figure out if he was coming or Bones was coming or Fisher was coming or Hardy was coming, like it felt almost like General Grievous, where there was 4 arms and all of them could do different things. Very, very terrifying. And then you lose like Wyatt, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened, given how well he's playing. And Stephen Daly comes in, and he's somehow even better and leads the conference in, like you said, tackles for loss. And the production both those guys put on the field, like, I know we didn't have either of them for the playoff run, but you don't get to 16-0 without either of those guys. And the fact that they were able to play at such a high level in the Big Ten, unbelievably important for that run for this team. EJ Williams.
Not the greatest boomerang. Oh, it wasn't a boomerang. It came from Clemson. Took a chance on a Tom Allen Indiana football team. Went to the portal last year because he wasn't getting any tech, and decides to come back and has a phenomenal season as wide receiver 3, soon to be wide receiver 4. But with injuries, he was wide receiver 3 for most of the year. He really wasn't wide receiver 4 into the playoff run. And after impact play after impact play, when they scheme it up and they're covering Coop and Surratt, he always found a way to be open and made some fantastic plays. I think the one that stands out, obviously you can talk rollout, deep ball in the UCLA game, but my favorite was that little red zone layered throw from Mendoza in the back of the end zone to EJ Williams. That picture, that play is how EJ Williams will be used in the NFL when he makes it there, because he is good enough to do that, be that big possession receiver. It reminds me a lot of Jake Bobo on the Seahawks, who scored a touchdown in this most recent championship game. A lot of similarities to the game, just 6'5", long, possession receiver. 7. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for going back on the ride, making the right decision, and coming back and being a big advocate to Southern recruits to come to Indiana as well. He's been very public about why recruits should go to Indiana. He was a 4-star in his own right. He was a blue chip guy, one of the 7 blue chip guys behind this team, Coop included. And he has been a big proponent of trying to get guys to come to Indiana. And I don't see many draft grades on him. I saw this Jacksonville fan account that likes to follow the draft, and they were looking at EJ Williams, and people were calling him old. I'm just saying, bro, dude's a dog. If he could be your wide receiver 4 or 5 on the roster, you're in good hands. Like, that guy can step up for an injured guy and give you some good reps in the league, 100%. So looking forward to his process, and I think he can make a big impact. But we'll see what the doubters say. Him just being, not as big of a role guy as the guys that we've previously mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you highlighted it perfectly. EJ Williams did not have to come back. And he not only decided to come back, but he's also been an advocate of the program, on top of making some really, really big plays, some fun plays. Like you said, the UCLA play, we were there. The layered throw is how I'm going to remember him. Destroy that Oregon defensive back in the Peach Bowl. So it's unbelievably important to the locker room, and just another guy who you look at this team and you're like, how many NFL guys are truly on this team? That's a guy who some people are going to be like, how is that guy playing in the NFL? It's like, did you watch EJ Williams play?
Yeah. People are going to be like, who is this guy and where did he come? He was at Indiana. Like, how did this guy not get drafted? Like, he's going to be one of those.
Because they have 3 first-round picks. Like, Coop and Surratt are first-round, borderline second-round picks, and Charlie Becker's going to be a first-round pick. It's like, that's why EJ Williams wasn't on the field.
He's probably worth a 6th-round flyer, for being honest here.
If EJ Williams could have transferred to somewhere in the Big 12 or the ACC and probably been a featured receiver or number 2 guy.
It could be like the Bama pick of all those good receivers. Like, we look back and oh my God, they had 4 NFL guys in their receiver room. Like, and we were trying to tell them. Like, we were trying to tell them in the offseason. I was telling them they're loaded. No one listened until it was too late.
Speaking of one part of the 2-headed monster, Roman Hemby.
Whew. Number 1, one God. Kick returner on this team. Is going to find great success in the NFL, just his return ability, and him just being a guy when he came out of Maryland as a freshman, made an impact right away. Has always been a good running back, productive, very well balanced. More of a scat back type, can run through you, but that's not, he's more run around you type guy. You know what I mean? Like, special, fast player, 1,000-yard rusher on a national championship team. Very much deserving of a top 5 round pick in my mind. Running backs just go lower and lower as the years goes on. They grow on trees. So that's definitely a guy you can tote the rock with. Not going to tell you he's a bell cow in the NFL, but he is going to be a very special piece on an offense if you use him correctly.
Completely agree. Another guy who completely understood what kind of role he was walking into. He was not going to be somebody who was going to get like 20, 30 carries a game. You know what I mean? Like they were very clearly going to split between the 3 guys, and then injuries happen. They're splitting between the 2 guys. Just great teammate, great person, great player. It's just you need people like Roman Hemby on your football team. And when he's as talented as he is, and he's the type of person he is, it's like, yeah, that's how you get a player like Roman Hemby. Kaelon Black,
we knew he was the definition of production over potential.
There were people in our comments and in the chat and on Twitter being like, oh, well, I can't believe we brought in this Roman Hemby guy, and is he going to be able to be productive? And he was a little bit down on Maryland, and we were like, what are you even saying? Like, what are you talking about?
He was eating as a true freshman at Maryland.
What are we talking about? Like,
he was killing us. Gonna be good. I remember watching Roman Hemby kill us as a freshman. I was like, who the hell is this kid? And literally, he turns out to be an Indiana Hoosier national champion. Like, what a run. Kaelon Black, one of the more vocal leaders on this team, wasn't a team captain, but was definitely one of the tone setters on this team in the locker room, bringing the culture, the original James Madison 13 that now dropped to 7 in this past year, the James Madison 7 that won the national title. Part of that group was a leading rusher at James Madison and Cignetti's last year. Didn't get a whole lot of tick last year because of injuries. Comes back for like his 6th, 7th, whatever year, and you cannot convince me that guy's not an NFL. We talked about him earlier in the Senior Bowl. Like, you just can't convince me he's not an NFL guy. Runs so hard, a freak athlete, super fast, super strong. We'll run through you. We'll run around you. Decent with his hands. Not as good as Hemby, but decent. And, we'll make a very, very good NFL running back. Will be a great addition to any running back room in the league.
People forget Kaelon was on the freaks list to enter the season. I mean, like you said, I'll remember him for his leadership and just how violently he hit the hole. He was just so fun to watch. As soon as the ball was in his hands, he was going to run as fast as he possibly could, straight, and it was going to be past somebody or through somebody, and it was always going to be violent. And, just somebody who – and also in the way he picked up the blitz too, just toughness personified. And we'll have I know you talked about his age and all that, but he's going to have a home on an NFL roster. He will.
No block, no rock. But there were times this season where it was like, man, it's really nice having a 25-year-old running back right now when you're playing Ohio State and Miami. Like, it comes in handy, doesn't it? That's how I'll remember Kaelon Black. It's like, man, that was really nice having a 25-year-old running back in college. And that's not a knock on this team. Play by the rules. He was eligible, so, suck it. I don't know what to tell you. Fans bitching about it. So every team's got old players. Our guys were just better.
And Solomon Van Horst, too, as well. You want to talk about I saw a respectable Adam just got a Van Horst jersey, which I thought was incredible. That was awesome. But kick returner who saw his role completely diminished this year, never complained. Just great teammate. Obviously, Curt Cignetti guy, another one of those JMU guys who came over, helped set the culture. And just somebody who's like a piece of this roster that's not going to be around anymore.
Special teams ace, one of the James Madison 7 on this roster. A returner that never returned it. It seemed like special teams ace, important leader, culture setter, very important 18. Thank you.
Riley Nowakowski, Brad.
Oh my God, what a surprise this guy was. I mean, we talked about him going into the year. We knew he was going to play a lot.
I remember fighting you. I remember fighting you and being like, the way Curt Cignetti is talking about this dude is like, there's no way.
I wasn't listening to Curt. And that's my fault because I was looking at Holden Stays like, oh wow, this guy's 6'5", 250, can run. Didn't matter. Nowakowski beat him out just by being able to execute. Being a great leader, a team captain on this team, 37, a former walk-on at Wisconsin, and didn't get a whole lot of playing time. I don't know how sick fucking found this guy. Former walk-on, got a scholarship at Wisconsin.
Bostad, baby.
But really wasn't involved in the passing game. And I remember the story of Riley talking about this when they're like trying to recruit him over to Indiana. And they're talking to him like, yeah, you're going to be very involved in the pass game. And Riley's like, what are you talking? Me? I'm going to be involved in the pass game? And little do you know that the play that sticks out to me is the deep slant or the deep post in the Penn State drive. Obviously, we could talk Illinois, screenplay, the fullback dive in the national title game.
Well, I think he had a bigger catch on, I think, second or third down in the national championship, but I'm with you.
That dot in the Penn State game on the post, holy shit. I was like, holy fuck, that was ballsy as fuck to throw that to Nowakowski in that spot. He caught it, and we moved the chains, and before you know it, Cooper's toe tapping in the end zone. And what an unbelievable story. Can't wait to see him. They call him the Kyle Juszczyk of this team. That's a Mendoza quote. And it's great comp. Great comp. A guy that will play fullback. He's not a tight end at the NFL level. He's just not tall enough. Like, sorry. Like, you got to be like 6'4" to do that. Or 6'3" at least. Shout out Kenyon Sadiq. Yeah, he's going to be played as that big fullback type guy. And yeah, will be used in any offensive scheme because fullbacks.
He's gonna be such an excellent charger. Oh my god,
Jim Harbaugh is gonna love him.
Mike McDaniel and Jim Harbaugh just getting their hands on.
Jim and John are gonna fight over this guy. He's gonna be a Giant or a Charger. I'm not sure. We'll see.
There's gonna be like it's gonna be like a blitz to trade up in the 5th round. People are like, "What the hell is going on?" It's like a all-out brawl for Nowakowski.
That's so funny. I hope that happens. That'd be awesome.
He earned it. Yeah. He earned it. Yeah, leader, and what a pleasant surprise in terms of playmaking ability, and just like, for him to be one of the people in New York celebrating the Heisman with Fernando is just, and to be one of the guys who was at the offensive line dinner before the year, and just like he was a massive part of this football team, and it's really cool to see him get his flowers. And like you said, he's going to be a really successful NFL player, and guys are going to be fighting over him.
Yeah.
Holden stays.
A couple touchdown passes. Wasn't as involved in this season as many would have thought in the pass game. Got his at times, a lot of times in garbage time and big blowouts, things like that. But really came through as a blocker on a lot of those big heavy sets. I think a lot of people would call him a bust. I would stay away from that. He won a national title. He came in a lot of those big packages he was in on as a big blocker, and
he's a great blocker this year.
And did his job, right? And just did his thing and didn't complain. And he's going to be forever remembered as a national champion, and no one's going to be able to take that away from him. And yeah, I'm glad 19 came through. And tight ends always going to be. It's been a very interesting ride following that room. We're gonna have another fun off season, kind of figuring out what the hell is going on there. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, shout out Holden Stage, number 19. Yeah, great Hoosier, national champion. No one's gonna take that away from him.
Yeah, and he caught Mendoza's record-breaking touchdown pass or record-tying touchdown pass. So they're drawing up plays for him, and I believe
a Notre Dame recruit, a Notre Dame commit, signee that won a national title.
Another one, him and Pat Coogan.
Yep.
Dominique Ratcliffe.
A senior leader on the interior D line, was anticipated to be more of a rotational piece and came in, did his job, had tremendous plays. It's a team effort up there on the D line, and he was a big part of it. Had tons of plays throughout the year. Number 91, he was showing up in his limited reps. Very highly graded. I'm not sure what his NFL future holds. I'm not the best D-line evaluator. He didn't really, necessarily stick out as an All-American with the emergence of Tucker and Landino throughout this year, but, did his job as a big piece of that interior D-line, which is one of the best in the country this past year, and he's a big part of that, and hopefully that argues his case for, he will be on a 90-man in training. He will be at a training camp in the NFL. He's not just going to go rookie camp and done. He's going to be on a 90-man somewhere, and he's going to try to work his way, and just wishing him nothing but the best for 91. Once again, forever national champion. Thank you, 91.
No, absolutely. And I think he really came on at the end of the season, especially when Daly went out for the year. When we switched to the more of the 3-man front, he ended up beating out Hosea Wheeler, who we'll talk about the portal guys in a second. He made a lot of really destructive plays in the college football playoff. And I think if you put on that tape alone, like you said, he's going to end up on an NFL roster. And the guy who came in knowing that he wasn't going to be the starter, knowing he was going to be a rotational piece, and came in and did his job. And, a great Hoosier. And then obviously, Brad, people were holding out hope. We didn't know if he was declaring for the draft or not. There was a little bit of a grace period where we thought this man may have been coming back, but it is officially official. Omar Cooper Jr. is going to the draft. What do you got for Coop?
I knew we were missing someone. One of the big recruits of the Tom Allen era coming in. When we got that big momentum swing from the 2020 season, 2021, you got this kid, 4-star receiver, home state, Lawrence North, Omar Cooper. Basketball player, dual athlete, track, basketball, football, comes in there and makes an impact right away on the team. Red shirts, but then makes an impact in his redshirt freshman year. Made I think my most tons. All right, I was about to say my most memorable Omar Cooper play was the one he caught the ball and got flipped on his head in the Michigan.
That's always the first one that comes to mind for me, but it's definitely not the most memorable.
That was like his first. I know that was like his first catch ever. So it was like that was that insane catch was set the tone for what would be an insane run of incredible plays like in these past 2 years. Talk Kennesaw State, end around. You could talk Penn State, the catch, probably the guy of the most famous play in IU history up until Mendoza, 4th and Mendoza. And even then you could argue like that is like the most memorable play, greatest call, like, oh my Cooper, unbelievable. Yeah, the Heisman Trophy. But yeah, just number 3 will be a bona fide stud in the NFL. Give him the Debo comp you gave IU. He's probably a mix in between. Kind of is just his own guy. 6 foot, 200. Absolute stud. Super hard to tackle. Great hands. The one-hander against Oregon. You remember that? That was so gross. Just filthy player. Clearly a top NFL guy. And one of the original Tom Allen holdovers that made a huge impact on this team. There's a few of them. Jamari Sharp, Farrell, Coop. Yeah, big part of this turnaround. And I'm glad he stuck around. And I'm glad Signetti was able to retain him because he was a very, very special piece and one of the few blue chips on this team and showed every bit of it. And we get more Omar Coopers on this team. Oh man, that's where we're trending, man. When you're looking at these recruiting classes coming in, it's just we're just bringing in more Omar Cooper level players, and he's gonna be a stud. And they're gonna get into the system, and you just saw the development in just 2 years. Oh, just think of Omar Cooper when he was at IU, and then 2 years flash over to now. It's like if he was still in the Tom Allen system, like there's no way that guy's a top 100 pick. But here we are, and he might even go, top. He's probably gonna go top 60. Is the thing here, and he's gonna one of my favorite players because in the sense that I've watched him the entire time, his entire career, and I remember when he came in, I was really excited about it because it was like, oh, we got this 4-star receiver, like here we go. Indiana football is starting to come around, and it's like you could pinpoint the IU football turnaround at the commitment of Omar Cooper. That is almost the start of it. You could maybe even flash it back further to when they send the whole coaching staff to the Penix home, maybe. But the commitment of Omar Cooper really got the whole ball rolling on what would eventually be a national title. And little did we know at the time.
James Bamba, Brad.
Former walk-on. Love that. Best blocking tight end specialist. Came in on those big packages. Many thought nepotism was involved with his mom being so involved with the program, right? Wouldn't be on this team if Signetti didn't feel he was capable of contributing. Played a ton, 48, whether it was on special teams or big short yardage packages. One of my just personal, just folklore kind of players. Like we could just throw out James when we're throwing out names of favorite IU players over the years and 20 years from now, like James Bomba will be a hell of a pull if you come up with that one. And everyone will remember James Bomba. Like there's no doubt. Like if you know IU football, you know who James Bomba is, period. And
Great Hoosier.
Yeah, great Hoosier.
And one of him and Charlie Becker were the two guys who dumped the Gatorade on Sig.
Pretty sure it was Bones and Becker.
No, it was Bomba.
Okay. Love that. Okay. That's good. There's someone to remember him by. There we go.
Yeah. If I have that wrong, maybe I'll get stat corrected. Maybe Brad's right. I'm not sure. But and if I missed any of the seniors or the graduates or the draft guys, like, yeah, blast me in the comments for that because that would be
shout out Bryson Bonds, man. I wish he was there for the ride and tear his ACL to start the year. Maybe he gets another year of eligibility. Maybe something to keep an eye on.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. Brad, that's not everybody who's leaving the team. We do have some transfers. Start with the big one. Alberto Mendoza, quarterback, going to Georgia Tech. It hurts. We know they're bringing in Hoover. He wasn't going to start at Indiana, or he's at very best he was going to have to compete for the job. So obviously he leaves to go start for Georgia Tech. So hard to see him go, but you understand the decision he made, and hopefully he's somebody who boomerangs back. What do you think about Mendoza to Georgia Tech?
You echoed my sentiment there. Potential boomerang candidate, a guy that's always welcome in the program. Obviously, in this new portal era, the goal is to play as soon as you can, get as much on tape so you can get to the NFL. Don't blame him at all. Great fit with Georgia Tech. He has a lot of Haynes King to him. So I love that. Love that for him and should fit right into that system. Would have loved to have him compete as a QB2 here. I don't think there's any better QB2 job in college right now than playing at Indiana, considering what they've been doing with quarterbacks. But he had to make a tough decision and move on. And yeah, I feel like I had more to say, but I'm kind of blanking right now because it's kind of a tough one because that's Fernando.
It's like, what are you gonna do? It's like
would have loved to keep family involved and knowing that his parents are going to be going to Atlanta games now, and it's just like, ugh, yeah, I don't know.
On one side of it, you're like, I want to be able to root for Alberto Mendoza for his entire college career, but on the other side of it, you recognize that. Even say, and I'm not saying this is his goal, right? Because once you transfer, it's like all bets are off. But if you look at the Curt Cignetti track record, if you want to start at quarterback for Curt Cignetti, you have to put production on film, like on the field. And reality is that if he stayed to be the quarterback to at Indiana, like they're probably bringing in another transfer next year to either compete with him or take his job.
Now he can potentially be that transfer. So like, here's where we're at in this portal era. This is what I was blanking on, wasn't what I wasn't saying. It's almost like with a lot of our twos, like they're leaving to get some tape on film to eventually maybe get the call to come back and be the starter down the line. I think it's almost like sending them to the minors. It's crazy to talk about Georgia Tech in that light, but it's almost like we're sending them down to Georgia Tech, groom them up a little bit, and then we'll see who can stack dollar bills better when it's all said and done if he has an all ACC year.
My favorite hidden storyline of college football, and I don't know if this will ever happen, is like who's going to be like the Munchen Gladbach who just like develops players and then sells them off. You know what I mean? It's like come in for like freshman, you'll start, you'll play for a year or two, and then you'll transfer out, but there'll be some sort of like agreement where how like Lamar Wilkerson gave money back to Sam Houston when he left. Yeah. Like there's going to be some sort of like, it's not going to be the athlete just goodwill. It'll be like contractually like, cool, and I'm making up a school, right? So pick like, I don't know.
Wazoo.
Exactly.
Do a Pac-12 school.
Well, no, let's go to a MAC school. So say like Miami of Ohio, right? Okay. Is like, we're going to become the Ohio State feeder. Just come here, play for 2 years and go to Ohio State. That's an opportunity to make a whole bunch of money. It's not like you guys are going to compete for a national. And then all of a sudden it's like after X amount of years of building up a bankroll and maybe you keep some of those guys, maybe you stop feeding the big school. I don't know. That's just an idea. But that's
I like that. I don't hate it.
It's getting
weird. Let's get weird.
Let's get weird. Why not? Speaking of, no, this isn't getting weird. Jaja Boyd transferred to Colorado. I was really excited to see that. I hope he's going to be able to get on the field there. I think that's a really cool spot for any defensive back to go, is to play for Coach Sanders. So shout out to Jaja Boyd. What do you think of Colorado for him?
Yeah, it great fit. Love that, like you said, like love that he's going to be a starting DB under Coach Prime. Get some tape on film, very similar to Alberto Mendoza, where it's like this guy could come back. He's the guy that we were expecting as a redshirt freshman, maybe even break into the rotation this year. It's just tough, when Sig just plays his guys, right? And there's not a whole lot of rotation that happens with the DBs. Something we definitely noticed. Maybe they'll mix in a Gandy and a Baldwin, which is what they did, but didn't really have room for Jaja Boyd. Lou Moore and Farrell were playing at such a high level. Wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for him. So to have him stay in power forward, it's a great sign that he might, boomerang and come back and is of quality to play at Indiana, but had to find some time to play now. And as going into his redshirt sophomore year, where he's still going to have 3 years of eligibility, going to Colorado, where plenty is on the table, right? Where he might go to Colorado, stay there for 3 years, have a hell of a career, go to the NFL, but might find his way back. We love Jaja Boyd and wish him nothing but the best, because in this portal era, we've had boomerangs before and might have some again. With Benson and Lou Moore this past year, we haven't had any this year. I could talk about one that I feel like we missed out on, but that's more for the who's in later.
Evan Lawrence ended up at San Diego State, Brad.
A great program. Once again, another guy coming into his redshirt sophomore year at San Diego State, where he will be likely the starter, I would imagine. I can't imagine he would go there thinking he would not start. Why develop anywhere else as a backup? So good for him. They found a home in a very strong program out there. I believe they're going to be in the Pac-12 next year. So going to be playing some pretty high-level ball against the Oregon States, the Boise States, the Washington States of the world. And we'll get some good experience for him. And like you said, it's like every time it's like, I feel like this guy's come back, like forever national champion, like would be welcome back in open arms. They know the system. They know what needs to get done. What's nice is that what's kind of interesting is that with all these guys we're mentioning that are out transfer-wise, like they're bringing in a new perspective to these programs. Like, hey, this is how we do things. Like these guys might become leaders on their respective teams that they're going to, because they know how to take care of business. They know how to prepare. They know what it takes. They've seen it. So
I think that's an excellent point, Brad, because I didn't even have this guy written down because I think he walked on in Indiana, but I added him to the list later. Ace
Cagnoli. I knew you were gonna.
but just to anchor the point you just made is John Summerall is looking around the transfer portal going like, how do I set a culture here at Florida? Like maybe that's the only Indiana guy he could get to come to his program, or I don't know how that went. But the fact that he like looked around the landscape and was like, I want to bring in that guy into my program, I think speaks to exactly what you're talking about. Is a lot of these guys are bringing not only championship experience, but day-to-day experience in the Curt Cignetti system. And people talk about how that system like creates football players and creates leaders and all that stuff. It's like, even the people who didn't play every day were still going through the day-to-day motions of being in the Curt Cignetti program. So I think that's a really big deal to try and bring in one of these guys as you're bringing in a potential culture setter.
100%. Right. And I think as we get successful, like we talk about coaching staff turnover, we talk about roster turnover, like everyone wants a little bit of what's going on over here in Bloomington. Everyone wants a little slice. Everyone wants a little sprinkle of what the magic that's happening here in Bloomington, and they wanted to be a part of their program, so they're finding any means to do that, whether it's taking a coach or bringing in a player, right? And that's gonna be a common theme that we're gonna see. That's why Signoli is a smart guy. Went to the portal and kind of, foretold. Listen, now he's going to Florida. He's playing SEC ball. Like, go for him. Like, hell yeah. We don't talk about, I don't talk about walk-ons that don't play.
But maybe he's got a scholarship opportunity there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I
think
that's
something like that wasn't available here.
Yeah, great for him. Good for Signoli.
Yeah. Hosea Wheeler was probably the biggest shock to enter the transfer portal, as in most people didn't realize he potentially had eligibility left.
Yeah.
He ended up at Baylor. He's there's a Pavia lawsuit that is currently going on that something to do with JUCO football, and so if he ends up with eligibility, he's going to end up at Baylor. Jose Wheeler in the fit for Baylor.
Great move by them. I'll forever remember Hosea Wheeler, first play of the year, didn't stay home, and Colton Joseph ran for 75 yards for a touchdown.
No, come on. I will remember Hosea Wheeler for being the closest guy to Julian Sayin when his knee went down when he didn't get the 4th down in the Big Ten championship game. I'll remember Hosea Wheeler for making that play.
Okay, there you go. I like that. But that's how I'll remember Hosea Wheeler. I remember texting you after that play, like, I know Hosea Wheeler is going to be the death of me. So it's like that's a guy that won't be boomeranging back because he's going to have at best one more year. Hopefully he gets his eligibility to get some more time on tape because it feels like, with the emergence of Landino, which we expected, it wasn't. He kind of just got beat out by a better player and just didn't get as much tick as he probably anticipated when he came in here and took the number 0 as a D tackle and did his thing. But yeah, wish him nothing but the best. There's a big reason why he's going to Power 4. He's staying there.
Well, when we were running the 4 down linemen and playing 2 defensive tackles, like he was very much firmly in the rotation. He was playing good snaps. When we transitioned to the 3 down linemen and we're running that 3-3-5, like it was with 1 nose tackle, like you're not taking Tucker off the field.
Yeah, exactly.
And then with the way Landino rotating in and then Ratcliffe was playing, it was like it just with the system they were running, it wasn't really a fit.
Mm-hmm.
But no, really, really talented player and another person who's a national champion for life. Mekhi Jackson, Brad, we were talking about him as potentially having a big impact on this team. Not only did he not have an impact on this team, but he ended up going to Liberty. So shout out to Mekhi Jackson, who's going to obviously be able to find playing time at Liberty, and just kind of unfortunate that it wasn't able to work out here. But what are your thoughts on Mekhi Jackson's fit with Liberty?
Should have a big year. Could be an all-conference type guy in the CUSA. At the premier program in that conference as well. There's a reason why he's didn't go Power 4, but went to a playoff contender in the sense that they can go undefeated in that conference and make a push for a playoff berth if they get their shit in order, right? And a guy that was all conference in the Sun Belt coming in, which is why we expected him. He's one of the more productive guys that we were bringing in through the portal, and we expected kind of a bigger year from him. But the emergence of Charlie Becker just beat him out in practice straight up. Didn't have a whole lot of room for growth here, considering the loaded roster that we had here between Brady and Becker and Coop Williams and Surratt. And we didn't talk about Brady as a guy leaving, by the way.
Oh my God!
Shout out number 0. Came in
Johnny Brady
in certain spots as a punt returner, had a punt return for a touchdown this past year. Mendoza's guy that we brought in to make him a little more comfortable, and it worked out pretty well, I would say. So shout out Johnny Brady, punt returner on a national championship team.
For somebody who wasn't playing a ton of snaps all year, played very meaningful snaps in the Big Ten championship game and did not look out of place. A very important piece to the roster, and somebody who made it difficult to punt to Indiana because of the punt return he put on film early in the season.
Are we punt return you? Is he going to go undrafted and get a Miles Price type role? Stay tuned.
He should. He's
talented enough for sure. But who are we talking about?
Jamari Monet.
Yeah, he's Monet hit the transfer portal. Damn.
Yeah, which sucks. I know the guys in the room loved him. He was a great teammate, and but another guy who, if you look at what they brought in on the defensive line, you look at the young guys who are now getting a year older. If you want to play, Indiana was probably not the place where he was going to get significant playing time. And so from that sense, I understand it.
The Tom Allen guys are continuing to decrease here, as it seems like it's only Jones, Utzinger, and Sharp left. Just at a quick glance.
Carter Smith. Come on.
Carter Smith. My bad. And Bray Lynch.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. So that's like 5 Tom Allen guys.
Kobe Martin.
No.
Yes.
Kobe Martin was a SIG guy.
Nope. Tom Allen guy.
He's a redshirt freshman.
He was part of that Tom Allen class and stuck around.
Committed. Like stuck around committed.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
He was just like Becker.
He never went to a practice under Tom Allen, though.
Correct. But Charlie Becker is technically a Tom Allen
guy.
We're
straight here. Does that make up a Tom Allen guy? I'm not sure.
They
But-
had to be re-recruited by Signetti, but like, yeah, a lot of those, like, yeah, they were committed to most of that 2024 class was committed to Tom Allen. Then obviously he brought in his own guys on top of that.
Where'd Barnett go?
He doesn't have a destination yet, at least when I looked a couple of days ago. So if he did commit somewhere and I missed it, definitely let me know in the chat.
Yeah, he might just come back. Who knows?
That'd be awesome. Dontre Henderson ended up at Arkansas State.
Is that Jair Alexander's? He's going to Arkansas State.
Yeah.
Because he has nothing on tape, but I'm surprised by that a little bit.
Well, I mean, I'm not that surprised. You look at Indiana's cornerback room right now. They brought in Carson Williams and AJ Harris. That's to go on.
No, I'm surprised he went to Arkansas State, and again, he's going to be a redshirt freshman going into next year, I believe. No, a redshirt sophomore. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore, and he's going to be. I'm surprised he's not playing power 4 ball.
He wasn't on the 2 deep, Brad.
I know he was on my 3 deep right here, but national championship team.
Yeah, that's fair. Mitch Verstegen,
that's a guy that might break out as an all conference guy in that league, and
that'd be awesome.
Find his way up. Like I said, we're just sending guys to the minors. It seems like.
Mitch Verstegen hopped in the portal, Brad. He doesn't have a destination yet.
Redshirt freshman.
It does hurt to be losing a lot of these.
It's nice to have him back for O-line depth. It feels like it's dwindling with Lawrence and Verstegen leaving. With all the guys that are already.
But they have a nice class coming in, and the class of 2025 is loaded. Guys like Wilkin and Parker and Marak. Oh, I think Parker's actually 2024, but Marak and Liebfried, and they got some dudes.
Johnny's a sophomore.
Johnny's already a starter.
Starting right tackle probably next year.
But back to the guys who are transferring out, Brad. Both the Pepe brothers are going to UMass. There were some rumors about them and maybe how they did or didn't gel with the team. But I mean, there was points where 42 was in like on the field with the 2s or the 3s or whoever that was. And so wish those guys the best for sure.
I heard they have a vaping habit. Anyways,
I wasn't gonna say it, Brad. and then Amari and Knighton hit the portal, and I don't believe he has a destination yet either. And that one was you understand these things. You look at the guys they brought in the cornerback room, like I was just about to talk about. And like we're not going to talk about the depth chart tonight, but it's a deep room that got deeper. You can talk about guys like Jalen Hollywood-Bell who are getting a year older, Zachary Smith's getting a year older.
We're very high on.
Mm-hmm. Like that's a really talented room. Jamari Sharp obviously is going to be probably the number one corner in that room. Rylan Gandy is going nowhere. He's back. Who's somebody flying completely under the radar. He was he started. Yeah, Gandy got the start in place of Pons when they went to Kinnick Stadium. So if you like looking at the roster right now, I know they brought in AJ Harris, but the assumption would be that the 2 starting cornerbacks are Sharp and Gandy, at least right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going into it because I feel like AJ Harris has to earn it a little bit. Bringing in. But
hold on, let's put a bow on who's out because Amari and Knighton. Final.
That's a lot of guys, man.
Yeah, it is a lot. I don't know what the exact count is.
Half the roster's leaving.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Portal era is crazy, man. It used to be just like 20 seniors leave, bring in your 20 guys to the freshman class, and that's your team.
Yeah, 20 seniors left, and then
it's a good thing we own the portal era. It's a good thing.
And 13 guys in the portal. So 33 guys out.
Probably more. Shout out Frankie, McCarthy, and Langston.
Oh my God.
Those are shout outs.
Jesus. I didn't even put any of the specialists in there.
Frankie, McCarthy, and Langston. Great special teams unit. Frankie.
Unbelievable special teams unit. They were phenomenal.
Torres groin in the UCLA game. We were there. That we were like, why did they squib it? It's like then you just see Frankie just dead on the ground. Kind of funny. But he came back for the Natty. It was nice to have him back, get some shine.
Yeah, Mark Langston. You never Indiana didn't have there was no long snap problems ever with that guy. Just an absolute pro who ran regressions to figure out how much he should practice and all that good stuff. Like just another one of those unique guys in that locker room that we're probably not going to get another Mark Langston.
100%.
And then McCarthy too.
brought a
McCarthy's
16
best game of the
guy
season. You could argue that McCarthy's best game of the season was the national championship. And also, McCarthy is personally responsible. I don't want to call him like 100% personally responsible, but I know when they were interested in, was it Billy Gowers, the punter for Hawaii?
Yeah.
When they started talking about who they were going to go after, McCarthy was a big part of that recruiting process for Gowers.
Very nice. Love that. Culture.
Yep. So that's who's out, Brad.
We got a lot to replace. We gotta wait till next week to cover who's filling those spots because we're at 3 hours now. We just can't do it.
This is why I drive the bus and don't let you talk me into things, because I should have just called it who's out, because I knew we were going to speak for 3 hours, especially running through all the smoke and whatever. But yeah,
I didn't know how big the smoke. I didn't think we'd be an hour 30 in, and there's smoke still.
Listen, when you're the national champions, things just happen to you, Brad, and you got to talk about that. But I love it. Yeah, big time. We'll save who's in for next week. Like I said, I still believe they're adding to this football team. I don't think the roster is complete by any means. We talked about losing Aiden Fisher. They haven't replaced him yet, and you're not going to replace Aiden Fisher, right? And that's not somebody you can replace with one person. I would expect Indiana probably looks at their roster and goes, our best 11 is a 4-2-5, but we can get into that next week. Do you have any closing thoughts on the guys leaving the program? And I say this to say, like, we're not going to close the book on the 2025 Hoosiers, right? Like, I'm going to talk about this football team forever. Like, one of the funniest chirps I got in the preseason was like, are you going to tell you're not going to tell your grandkids about anything that happened with the 2024 Hoosiers? And I was like, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm going to talk about all these blowouts and all this stuff. And like, but at a certain level, like they were right. Like, there wasn't anything like, yeah, it was a great season, but would they win? I'm going to like the stories you can tell about this 2025 Indiana Hoosiers team, they live forever. They're legendary. And so, like, it'll never be over for this team. But in terms, like, eventually you have, like, the 2025 season ends, like you said, winter workouts. So I believe Indiana started, if they didn't start their strength program or their winter conditioning today, like, they start this week. And so it's time to turn the page. So what do you have to close the book on 2025?
For me, a lot of the 2024 kind of bleeds over to 2025 for me. I really do see it as one big process that just culminates into a national title. So in that sense, like, I always talk about the 2024 team, like blowing out Nebraska, try 5, get 6 against Washington. The Michigan game really sticks out. It's a big memory for me, just like celebrating it wise, going 10-0 for the first time in school history. Like, that was a big moment. A lot of things accomplished by 2024, and Sig said it ad nauseum, like, this does not happen without those guys. Yeah, I think we are closing the book chapter on it. We're closing the book. It's time to move on to what I'm going to call February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 7 months of rat poison, where Indiana is now in a new era where they are the top dogs. I think we're going to talk about ad nauseum. Like, we're going to talk strength conditioning and what that impact's going to be. I think there's a new thing where this team's not going to really be able to have, like, where are they going to find their edge, right? How are they going to find that? I have theories. I'm not going to get into it now, but how are they going to find their edge? I think it is very easy for this team to find their edge. We're Indiana. We haven't won shit. You're Indiana, and you'll never win shit. Doubters ad nauseum across the board throughout all the media. Everyone telling them how they're not good enough, how they're not going to do anything. Preseason top 22, right? Preseason 22 was this team in the AP poll. They're not going to have that going into this year. They're going to be a preseason top 5 team, possibly number 1. They're going to be talked about like the likes of Texas and Notre Dame and Ohio State every year. And how are they going to handle that? Where are they going to find their edge? Good news, we got Signetti, who's a watchdog for complacency and knows the process and has no problem reeling guys out, never satisfied. And we have guys there that know the program and know what to do. It's almost like when we brought in like the Signetti like 13, the James Madison 13. It's like, okay, now we have the Indiana 25, like whatever 30 so guys that are coming back, and that's the core, right? And then we're going to build off that through the portal and the freshmen that we're bringing in. So it's just going to be really exciting to figure out how this team's going to find their edge, how they're going to block out the noise going through the offseason, making sure that they're doing all the right things and making sure they're sticking with the same process that got them to where they got to. Because every year it's starting fresh. Like we just went through this whole thing where we're losing half the roster. It's a brand new team, right? It's the same thing last year. It's going to be the same thing after 26 as well. So just going into that, and it'll be fascinating to find out how Cignetti's able to, because Cignetti's never been in this spot either, where he's the top of the college football world, and technically nothing to prove, right? Like nothing to prove.
I mean,
right?
he was a part of Alabama's undefeated national champion team. You know what I mean? And then he was on the staff the next year. So it's like,
I'm saying, like, as a head coach, he's not been in this spot. He's been at IUP, so it'll be interesting to kind of just see him follow. Do I have doubts about them being able to make the playoff again? No. Do I have doubts about them, the possibility of repeating? No. This team, it'll just be interesting to follow how they're able to find their edge and how they're going to separate themselves from the rest of the pack as everyone else is loading up on the rosters. Everyone's talking about how good Miami's offense is going to be next year. And what makes Indiana football special is that they go through a process. They take everything super serious. They find a way to get better every time they go to work, whether that's film study, whether that's winter workouts, whether that's practice. They find ways to get better in increments, and it stacks on each other, and it culminates in a national title. And trying to find a way to replicate that going into 2026 is just going to be fascinating to see, and seeing how they do it. And I think you following the pressers and things like that, understand how these guys are talking and comparing it to what we've been following. This is why I'm glad we've been going through the pressers for as long as we have, because now we're going to see kind of that next, we call it chapter 3, but it's almost chapter 2, right? Where it's like this new group of guys and how do they respond post-championship, right? It's a new just thing that I don't think a lot of these guys don't have, just no one does. Like it's not anything against them. They just don't. No one's ever really been in the spot.
I'm going to leave us on a cliffhanger, Brad, because I really appreciate what you just set up there. And I think that, to your point and what you highlighted, this is a completely new team, and you do have to go through the process every year. And there was this contingent of JMU guys where it really felt like the 2024 season and 2025 season was the finishing of a story for that JMU doubted crew. And now this is Indiana football, and what are we going to do in this new age where now people respect us as a football power? But you talk about the guys that are leaving and what they're leaving behind. Well, like what doesn't get covered and who's in and who's out is who stayed. And I think one of the, if not the most important piece on the 2025 Hoosiers is going to be somebody who is already on the team this year. And I'm really excited to watch the way this kid develops and ends up playing on the field, and let people figure out who I'm talking about this week.
I don't know who you're talking about, but it could be Wilson. I'm just going to run through names. I'm not going to say anything more. Wilson, Chandler, Becker, Thierry, Ajani, Lynch, Evans, Smith, Tucker, Landino, and Dukwe.
I think the future leader of this football team. I think the future leader of this football team, Brad
Farrell,
watched the path, watched the guys like set the tone.
When you tweeted about it too, Baldwin. I'll read you like a book.
We'll talk about who's in next week. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at IndianaVOCFB. If you're watching on the Sigs Inside account, hop on over to YouTube, like, comment, share, subscribe to Indiana at the Voice of College Football. You can follow me at Alec Keiser, follow Brad at Bradley_Loomis8. Check out all the things going on at the Voice of College Football. Check us out on Instagram. Shout out to the boys, Wave, Nick, Skrill, Signar, the intro song, 1621, the outro song is the sweet sound of Butter Symphony. Like I said, we'll talk about who's in next week. And we'll figure out if Brad was right about the cliffhanger or not. I don't know.
I think I was. You got 3 hours out of me today. Good for you.
I know, that's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. Go Hoosiers. We'll see you next week.